About time.
Yeah.
Guy got paid. Zeke
90 mil.
Look, most people are crushing this because of what it means to pay a running back. It's a replaceable position. Yes, he catches 77 or so passes a year. At least he did last year. He doesn't do that regularly, but he did it last year. You'd be better served throwing to your tight end or down the field. Like it's inefficient to throw to the running back as much as you do. Like you start to hear all of these things. But I'm ecstatic for this because for the first time in the last, I'd say, decade, because you have to factor in Adrian Peterson's deal because he got paid when a lot of running backs were not getting paid. And so there was a time, a place and time in the NFL where a running back could make a big amount of money and be a big part of the salary cap. And it's been pushed off for way too long. And obviously Le'Veon Bell held out for a season. He ultimately kind of got what he wanted, but he lost a year in the middle of his career, of his prime. I think he'll be rested. Who knows what we'll see from him with the Jets, but I suspect it'll be great. Melvin Gordon is currently holding out, and instead of the Chargers trying to work something out with him, they say, peace, see you later.
Are they? But I mean, I understand you could ask for whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because it assures nothing. So ask for the moon, you might get a star.
Yeah.
Are they kidding me what they're asking for, though? For Melvin Gordon?
Yeah, it's not happening.
There's no way that's happening.
Look, they set a line.
A first rounder, a third rounder, plus the $10 million a season?
They set a
I'm
line.
going to pass.
Exactly. They set a $10 million line, and that was it. They weren't going over it. They weren't going – that's all they were willing to give him. He wants 13. They're not even compromising. They're not even trying. They said, get out of here, see you later. So there's disrespect around the running backs for a long time, save for Adrian Peterson, which was a long time ago now. I guess Le'Veon Bell as well. But Zeke got paid, and he got paid by a team that said they weren't going to pay him because we haven't been able to figure out what's the market. Is it 9, 10 million, or is it closer to 15 what Zeke got, or 16 like Le'Veon Bell asked for? And the Cowboys set a template that I think opens the door now for other elite running backs to make this type of money. Let's not forget, the salary cap is going to go up next year. It's going to go up the year after that. Once gambling becomes full swing, I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. So this deal won't look as bad as some people are making it out to be. But the point, and this is really the only point that matters, is that a running back finally hit that almost $100 million level. Is he going to see all of it? Probably not, unless he gets really lucky and is healthy and is productive until his late 20s. But the number is there, and that's important because until you can visualize it and see it as a reality, it was never going to happen. So from that standpoint, kudos to Zeke for getting this thing done and for standing his ground and realizing that Jerry Jones, as blusterous as he wanted to be and as put offish as he wanted to be about Zeke and everything else, he knows you need a passing game and everything else and the defense to win a championship. They need Zeke to win a championship. So he caved to him, which I think is awesome.
How much does he play Sunday against your Giants?
I think he plays a lot.
You really do?
I do. I mean, the one thing you worry about, but I don't worry about it because we talked about this yesterday, is he hasn't taken a meaningful snap in a long time. Right? He hasn't gotten hit. He hasn't been in pads. He hasn't, there's a weight that gets, it's one thing to work out and you feel awesome, like I'm jacked, I feel good, right? It's another thing to put a helmet on and shoulder pads on, lace up your cleats, go through that motion. It takes some getting used to, which he's not going to have any of because they don't hit in practice anymore, obviously.
And they certainly don't hit down in Cabo.
Exactly. They don't hit in Cabo.
They might hit you with something, like a double shot at 5 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. But what I think mitigates that a little bit is that nobody plays in the preseason. So you know what I mean?
That's true.
It's not like he's significantly behind. If this was 15 years ago, I mean, he'd be way, way behind.
They might even consider holding him out if this was back in the day, old school training camp stuff.
So many other guys are going to be in the same kindish boat that he's been in. The difference is they had a little bit of training camp at least. He had nothing.
Okay, I got a question for you. And, I don't know if we'll ever get to this point, but as he and a few others, and you mentioned a few, have reset the running back market, which was their mission. That was something that was their cross to bear, and they handled it well.
You're right.
Now, with that being the case, if I'm a team, and the Giants probably jump to mind most because they've got one of the most explosive talents in the league, but on paper they're not going to be very, very good this year. If the Giants... Do you think we'll get to a point where we'll see almost like maintenance days? begin to permeate the NFL, not quite as blatant as the NBA. But if you're the Giants and you're 4-11, and maybe they could be a game or two better. I'm not forecasting immediate doom for the Giants, but if you really want to squeeze out why wouldn't you save somebody like Barkley or another young McCaffrey? Say it, things go crazy sideways for the Panthers this year. Why would you run those guys into the ground when they're 22, 23, 24 if there's nothing to play for?
You won't. And this is why Saquon didn't play at all in the preseason, and we saw a lot of Wayne Gallman.
December.
I know.
It's one thing to do it in August when nobody cares.
I'm just talking about now.
People aren't playing fantasy in August. We're playing fantasy in December.
But the Giants needed to know what can Wayne Gallman give us as a 10 to 12 touch, not carries, 10 to 12 touch, receiving, etc. player. Is he a reliable pass protector? What can Paul Perkins give us in this regard as well? Because the one thing you know about Pat Shurmur, and this emanates from his Minnesota Vikings days, they will use a variety of backs, right? They don't want just one guy they don't want Zeke, right? They don't want that guy who's going to give me 380 or 90 touches that's rushing and receiving throughout a year. They want to spread it out and keep their guys fresh, but they got to be the same type of guy. You know what I mean? Now, nobody's Saquon, but Wayne Gallman can get close because he can catch the ball. He can run between the tackles. He's a willing, physical player, obviously much leaner than Saquon is. But he's an interchangeable part. He's not going to be the same production. I'm not suggesting that at all. But they can put Wayne Gallman in and not lose anything from a game planning standpoint. And so I think that's absolutely
except maybe credibility.
Yeah, well.
Think about that.
Yes.
If you're going to a Giants game in December,
production,
and all that's Saquon's better than almost anybody in the NFL outside of maybe Zeke, and maybe that's it, and maybe he's better than Zeke with certain things. But if I'm a Giants fan, or if I'm a Panthers fan, we had a bad season, I still better see my guy playing in December.
Do I want to go watch these guys get blown out on November 20th or whatever it may be?
Without those guys,
not really, probably not.
No, and my children who probably had their jersey that's who they want to really see.
Good point.
Now, the fan has to almost battle themselves, their own internal instinct. Forget about fantasy for a moment.
You got to be smart.
They've got to say to themselves, all right, the immediacy of maybe Saquon scoring a meaningless touchdown and McCaffrey having a huge game and it doesn't change the result of the season, would you rather almost kind of work or circumvent that and have more juice the next season when theoretically things are actually better and you're vying for something meaningful?
Yeah, it's just hard.
I don't know the answer to that, but you know what? It's happening in every sport.
Yeah, you're right.
It happens in baseball.
Yeah.
God forbid a guy plays 7 days a week. I don't care if you're 25 years old. You can't play every day anymore. It's a joke.
You're right.
Pitcher, 90 pitches. Get him up. He's tired.
Now forget basketball.
That's good. That's what I'm saying. They're the pioneers.
How many did Kawhi miss? 20 games this year?
That started 6 years ago with Popovich, with the old guys, which we understood a little bit back then.
The league tried to come down on it.
They did.
Then the league kind of realized that the coaches that were doing that were doing it for a reason.
Correct.
Right? And so we haven't heard anything about that for the last couple of years. But to running backs in the National Football League, once they get paid like Zeke got paid, yes, it becomes imperative for a team not to overuse him, especially in situations where he's not needed, right? The Cowboys are blowing a team out. Let someone else come in and give you the 4-minute drill. You know what I mean? If the game is lost, and you're in the fourth quarter and you're past trying to make the comeback, you know what I mean? Let it go. I mean, Zeke may be upset. Saquon may be upset because it lessens their chances of winning the rushing title, or
all-time list too.
All-time list,
all the fame stuff.
We don't have the finer details of Zeke's deal yet. We're still waiting for those to come out via Spotrac or something or other. But I don't know if he has any incentives. You know what I mean, in his deal. I know there's $50 million guaranteed. It's a $90 million deal over 6 years. He only had a $7.5 million signing bonus, though, which tells you that this is heavily loaded with salary at the back end of this deal.
No, it forces him to toe the line.
It's
off the field.
It's kind of a great deal for the Cowboys.
For the Cowboys.
You know what I mean?
Except they said they did what they said they weren't going to do.
Exactly.
So you can say whatever you want. Jerry got played at the poker table here. Jerry got played.
Yeah, Jerry, next time you want to play hardball.
I know, really.
Or at least talk hardball. I don't know what he was saying, to Zeke personally, but to talk hardball, we're not believing you. I mean, come on.
That's true.
You caved. But at the end of the day, I think it works for everybody. It gets Zeke what he wanted, the highest paid deal for a running back ever in the history of the National Football League. The Cowboys have their bell cow, their proverbial straw that's going to stir the drink, so to speak. And I think from an overall perspective, the running back finally got paid. I know people will look at this and say, it's not worth it. They're interchangeable. The production's not really there, versus like wins against replacement. They don't do that in football. But if there was, it wouldn't be as high for a running back as it would for other plays. It got done.
Yeah.
And that's
certain guys, by the way, rip up every rule and they throw it in the trash.
And Ezekiel Elliott is one of those guys because he doesn't get hurt. He finishes every single run. He plays his ass off, and he plays hard every single game, every single snap. This was worth it, I think, for all parties, and I'm glad he got it done.